Friday's Healthy Eating channel, and we're here to help you to eat well and get cooking. Hey everyone, welcome back to my kitchen, and today we're going to be making sweet and sour chicken. So I'm going to go through it all with you step by step, and if I go a little bit too fast for you, then just pause it and catch up. I'm going to use chicken because it's a bit more versatile and a good way to start the sweet and sour. Now, I'm going to put out my ingredients. We need a tin of pineapple. Now, this is a rather large one. You don't need such a large tin, but it was the only one I could get. So we need a tin of pineapple to start. We need 2 peppers. I've got a yellow and a green. We need an onion, and we need some chicken. And at the moment, those are the main ingredients. Then we need things for the sauce, and those we'll go through in a sec. So I'm going to do it step by step. What we'll start with is we've got to start with opening up the pineapple. Now, I've got a ring pull, so if you have a ring pull, put your finger in the middle and pull it up. Otherwise, you will have to use a can opener. So I'm going to put my pineapple. Well, I need juice. Hold on. Get yourself a small bowl. You need to pour some juice into this 2 tablespoons of juice, pineapple juice, into this bowl. So if you just do that first, 2 tablespoons of pineapple juice and 1 tablespoon of corn flour. I've got a measure in my corn flour dish, so I'm going to put 1 tablespoon of corn flour into my pineapple dish. Then I'm literally just going to stir it around, and this is basically what you're making here is a paste to thicken your sauce when you've got everything in the frying pan. So this is our paste, pineapple paste, and we're going to leave that to one side, okay? Don't need to worry about that yet. So put that to one side. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm not going to do, if you look at the recipe, it says to cut the chicken next. Well, I don't want to keep my chicken out for too long, so I'm going to actually make the sauce next. So, get another bowl to make your sauce. And you're going to need various things. You're going to need some white wine vinegar, some soy sauce, some pepper, some fresh ginger and fresh garlic, optional crushed chilies, and some tomato puree. Right, so let's get started. So we're going to need 2 cloves of garlic. So I have 2 cloves of garlic. Right, so you break open and you take out, whoops, that nearly went awry. 2 cloves of garlic. Peel off this sort of papery skin and make sure that you top and tail it. Don't forget to use your claw grip. Top and tail. And then you just peel off this skin. Okay? If it doesn't come off straight away, just use a knife, but be very careful if you're going to use your knife to peel off the skin. Okay? So you peel your skin off very carefully. Sometimes it comes off very easily with your fingers. Okay, so that's to one side. I also need a bowl for leftovers. Right. What I mean is peels and bits and pieces for the bin, the recycling bin. So I'll put that in there. Right, so 2 cloves. So next one, cut up your garlic. Get the skin off. Okay, don't worry if it's taking a little bit of time. Just take it off slowly because it is a bit like paper. And some garlic, this is very fresh garlic, so the paper is really stuck to it. Okay, almost done. Right, so now I'm going to put all this in my peels little bin. Okay, so now I've got my 2 pieces of garlic. Now, you can use a garlic crusher if you've got one. I don't like garlic crushers because I think it wastes half the garlic. So I'm going to very carefully, using my knife skill of claw grip, keeping my fingers all in a row behind the knife so that the knife doesn't cut my fingers. I'm going to chop this into very tiny little pieces because nobody wants a mouthful of garlic. So you can just chop like this, chop up your garlic into fine little pieces. Be careful with your knives. Okay, so that's chopped up into fine little, as fine as I can get it. So, but by all means, if you like a garlic crusher, use a garlic crusher. Okay, so that is my garlic. Now I'm going to put it into my bowl where I'm going to make my sauce. So put my garlic first. Then we need some fresh ginger. Okay, so how much fresh ginger do we need? A 25-gram piece of fresh ginger. So let me weigh that out so that you can get an idea of the size. Okay, so this will probably be way more than 25. Yes, this is 38 grams, that little piece. So perhaps if I cut that off and I weigh it again, that's just over 25, but I'm happy with that because I do like the taste of ginger. Now, ginger, you need to get rid of this skin. And to be honest, it's easier just, you can try it with a peeler, but it's such an irregular shape that sometimes it's easier to cut it off with a knife. Be very careful. If you're not confident using your knife in this way, then put your ginger down, put your fingers on top and slowly cut downwards. Okay, that's probably a much safer way of doing. Cut the skin off, not too much. Go around all the curves and cut off the skin. Okay, there we go, all done. And again, we're going to put these leftover skins in our bin. Right. Now, same thing with ginger. Can either be chopped finely or you could grate it. So I'm going to get my grater out. And I'm going to grate my ginger. Use the thick part of the grater because we don't want it too small. It's this thick part of the grater is ample for doing this. Be careful you don't break your knuckles or your fingers. Go very slowly. Don't go down, well, that's as far as I'm going to go. And the rest I'm going to chop with my knife. So I'm going to take all my garlic, look inside because there's usually loads stuck inside. Get that out. There we go. So that will be nice and better than chopping it up finally. Be even smaller. Because again, you want the flavour of the ginger, but you don't really want a whole mouthful. So I'm going to just carefully chop that. Right, that's all ready. It was much quicker than chopping it all. And we're going to put that into our sauce bowl. Okay, so nothing like fresh ginger. If you couldn't get fresh ginger, use a teaspoon of ground ginger. Right, so I'm just going to go wash my hands because after all that garlic and ginger, they certainly do. My hands smell lovely of ginger and garlic, but I think I'd like them washed. Okay, so wash hands. Right, okay, let's go back and finish off our sauce. Okay, so what's next? We've got 1 tablespoon of soy sauce. So here's my tablespoon. 1 tablespoon of soy sauce. Now please, when you measure it, go right to the top of the spoon, otherwise it's not enough, it's not a tablespoon. So 1 tablespoon of soy sauce. Then it's 2 tablespoons of white wine vinegar. If you haven't got white wine vinegar, then use what you have. Right, 2 tablespoons, so 1, 2. Right, so we've now got that. We can now put this to one side. Okay, this recipe makes enough for 2 chicken breasts. If you were making 4 chicken breasts, then double up on everything. Okay, right, 1 tablespoon of corn flour. So I've got another tablespoon of corn flour. It's going to be there. Corn flour is a thickening agent. We're using it to make the sauce thick when it's cooked. It doesn't get thick when it's cold, but the minute you put it in the pan and you're stirring, it gets hot. So 2 tablespoons of soft, light brown sugar. Okay, so that had vinegar in, so I'm going to use another tablespoon measure. So we want 2 tablespoons. 1, 2. 2 tablespoons of soft brown sugar. 3 tablespoons of tomato puree. Right, now if any of you have got these tubes, the way to open them is you take the lid off and you turn your lid upside down. There's a little protruding point in the lid. You push that into the top of your tomato puree and ta-da, it's pierced and open. So we need 3 tablespoons, and I always press it from the bottom up, not the top. So 3 tablespoons, it's not going to be totally correct, but more or less. 2, 3. Right, 3 tablespoons, that came out really easily. 3 tablespoons, always use it from the bottom and push up so that you don't waste any of it. Don't scrunch it in the middle, okay? And then that can be bent up, go back in the fridge, ready to use for next time we're making something. Okay, 1 pinch of chili flakes, if you'd like, and now I would like, because we like our things quite hot. So a pinch. Right, chili flakes are extremely hot, and I mean extremely hot. So I'm just putting literally what's in my fingers. Well, I think that's probably going to be hot enough. You'll be surprised at how hot chili flakes are. If you've got fresh chili, make sure you cut up your chilies, but don't put the seeds in. Okay, and for goodness sake, wash your hands afterwards, otherwise you could sting whatever part of your body you touch next. Okay, so freshly ground pepper. I've got some black pepper here. Right, and that's my sauce all done. So I'm now going to mix it all together. And this is now going to be the flavour for our sweet and sour sauce. Okay. That's what's going to make our dish sweet and sour. Okay, so that's all mixed in. We're going to set that aside. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to prepare my vegetables next. And I'm going to take my peppers and my onion. Now, I'm also going to give my board a wipe because I've just got some bits of ginger and, in fact, I could maybe put them in there. There's no chance of cross-contamination. I'm going to use a separate board for my vegetables and a separate board for my chicken. So I've got them totally separate. Okay, so peppers. Let's start with the peppers. And I've got a bowl here to put in my chopped peppers. Okay, so, okay. Now, I usually turn my pepper upside down. I'm using the bridge hold and cut and open. And then I take this seeds out, pull it out, and put it in the rubbish. Just like that. I found that the easiest way to do peppers. Okay, now there's a little bit of the stalk left there, so I'll just gently cut that out. And then we're ready to go. So that's one of the peppers, so I'll cut both. Now, just a reminder, what are peppers so high in? Peppers are very, very good for us. And what is the vitamin that peppers are really, really high in? If anybody can guess, well, I hope you've guessed vitamin C. Vitamin C, most people think vitamin C is only in fruit, but actually vitamin C is in vegetables as well, and especially in peppers. Now, we're just going to cut these peppers into strips. The problem with vitamin C is that the minute you cut your fruit or vegetables, in this case, now that we're cutting our peppers, vitamin C starts to escape into the atmosphere. It's a very strange vitamin, so we want to try, and that's why I would never prepare these peppers too far in advance. Now we're going to use them very, very soon, and so I'm cutting them just before we need them to give as little time as possible for the vitamin C to escape. And the other problem with vitamin C is that as soon as we cook any vegetables, the vitamin C slowly but surely gets killed by the heat. Now, if any of you watched the series on the secrets of vitamin C, you will know that after 5 minutes of cooking, we only lose 10% of vitamin C, but it increases after that. So we're going to, and we did say on that program that vitamin C, that we need to keep the cooking down as little as possible to ensure that we keep all the vitamins in. And stir frying is one of the most healthy ways of cooking vegetables, because stir frying does not overcook the vegetables. It literally stirs them and keeps them crunchy, and so we keep as much vitamin C in as possible. And that's what we're doing today. We're going to stir fry our peppers and our onions. We don't want them cooked, we just want them crunchy and slightly cooked. Right, we don't need to cut up our onions finely, just like this, okay? So we're going to put our onions in here. We're going to just put them, so there we go, done already. If I've gone too fast, then just pause the video and catch up. Okay, so we're going to cut up all our vegetables. Now I know I do it very quickly, so you probably need to catch up and keep going. Okay, but they don't need to be finely chopped, just strips. Okay, right, so I'm going to get these things out the way. Now, don't forget that you're going to need this pineapple, so don't do anything with it yet, and you're going to need some more pineapple juice. Okay, so what we're going to do now is, in our sauce, this pineapple, there's only one more thing we need to add to our sauce, and that is the pineapple juice from our tin. Okay. Now, if you've only got a small jar of pineapple, don't worry, you could always add some water. Okay, I've got this rather large one, and it's pineapple slices in juice, not in syrup, which is much better. Okay, so I've got that in there. Now, I hope you've all caught up and you've got your vegetables ready. Now I'm going to slice up my chicken. Right, I'm going to go to the fridge because I've kept my chicken in the fridge to keep it safe. Right, okay, so let's go and get the chicken. Right, okay, so I'm going to take out, now this is where you're going to need, if you don't like touching chicken, you can put some gloves on, or you can use your hands, but you will need to make sure that you wash your hands thoroughly afterwards. I'm going to use a sharpened meat knife. Okay, make sure you've got your knife nice and sharp. Right, so I'm going to take 2 chicken breast fillets. Here's one, gosh, it's quite nice and big. And I'm going to cut it into, now, you can cut it into strips or chunks, but don't cut them into large, because this is, somebody's going to eat this and they don't want to have a great big mouthful of chicken. Cut the chicken quite small, because then it means that it seems like there's more chicken in the dish as well. Right, so that's how thick that is. I'm cutting that one in half, and then I'm going to cut it in half again. So I'm ending up with strips like that. Okay, I like having strips in a stir fry. Right, let's see, let's carry on cutting. You can cut it anyway, so you could cut it this way, and then we don't have to cut our strips in half. So here we go. These are our little strips. Those are perfect. So keep going. Not too thick and obviously not too thin. So just like that. Okay. Once they start getting, if they are too big, you can always cut them in half. Right, so there we go. Right, so these chunks are quite big, so I'm going to cut these in half and make them into thinner strips. And you can just pick out which ones you want to cut in half, if you want to at all. Right, I like to have thinner strips. Okay. Right, there's one chicken breast done. And I'm going to do the next one. And then don't waste any parts of the chicken. Just get it all cut up. Just like that. Okay. Right. I hope I'm not going too quickly for you. But don't forget, just pause it if I am. So there we go. Some nice... Right, that chicken breast was a bit smaller than the other one. Okay. Right. So I've got 2 chicken breasts left. Which I'm going to put back in the fridge because I don't want it lying around. But I do have now my hands full of chicken, so I am going to go and wash my hands first before I do anything, because chicken carries dangerous bacteria, and those are called is either Salmonella or Campylobacter, and chicken is a bad one for that one. So we need to make sure we always wash our hands so that we don't spread any chicken bacteria to other things when we touch them. And also we need to make sure that we cook our chicken really well so that all the bacteria are killed. Okay, right, there we are. There's my hands nice and clean. I'm not going to put my chicken into another bowl. I'm just going to leave it on that because that was a separate tray. We're going to get ready. We're actually ready to start cooking now. Just going to pop this back in the fridge. Okay, right. Right, now we're going to go over to our cooker. So we've got our sauce ready. Here's our sauce with the rest of our pineapple juice. We've got our chicken done. We've cut up our vegetables, they're prepared. We've still got this dish here, which I will tell you what to do with in a little while. And we're now going to put some oil in our frying pan. So I'm going to go over to the cooker and put the frying pan on. I'm going to put it on a high heat to start. And and just put a little bit of oil in the bottom. I think there is a measurement, 2 tablespoons of oil, I think is what it was saying. So I'm just going to let that warm up, and I'm going to bring over, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do my vegetables, and then I will be doing the chicken. So let's get it all ready. And the sauce is here. Right, okay, so we're going to stir fry these peppers and onions. I'll take one of these. So the oil is busy heating up. I can feel it's getting warm on the pan. Just give it a minute or two to heat up. And now we're going to put in our peppers and onions. Put all of them in all at once and start stirring around. Okay. Now, you don't want to be going off and doing something else once you put these vegetables in, because if you do, they will burn. So once this gets hot, not quite hot enough, yes. If you've got a gas hob, you'll probably find that yours is really hot. It's starting to sizzle now. I don't know if you can hear that. Right. Keep stirring. And it says 3 minutes. So if I put a timer on, and then we'll see. Alexa, put the timer on for 3 minutes.
3 minutes. Starting now.
Right, there we go. So 3 minutes. So bearing in mind that there's 2 people going to eat this, although it could easily feed 3. You've each got a pepper and an onion. So there's more than there's 3 portions of vegetables in here. So your sweet and sour provides you with pepper, 2 peppers, so an onion. It's got pineapple in. So 4, a red, a yellow, and pineapple. So 4 of your 5 a day. The peppers, as we know, are very high in vitamin C, as long as we don't overcook them. And the yellow pepper, I don't know if any of you remember, but yellow vegetables all contain vitamin A. So vitamin A is in all yellow and red fruit and veg. So we've got yellow in our vitamin A in here. We've got pineapple, which is yellow, so that's got vitamin A in as well. So, and we also are frying in a little bit of oil, which means that we have vitamin E. And I've actually used rapeseed oil, which contains vitamin E. And if you've watched any of the Eat Well Guide series, you'll know that vitamin A, vitamin C, and vitamin E spell ACE, A-C-E. And what do we need ACE for? What is so important about that word ACE? I don't know if any of you remember, but ACE is what we need to build up our immune systems. And our immune systems are what keep us from getting ill and getting serious diseases. So the more we have ACE, the more we're building up our immune system. Okay, so we're going to try and keep these peppers cooking for not much more than 5 minutes. So we're going to do 3 minutes now, and then we're hopefully not going to leave it in the pan much longer after that when we put them all back, so that we don't destroy vitamin C. So I'm going to put my peppers, as soon as that alarm goes, I'm going to actually take the peppers out, and then I'm going to fry my chicken next. But you don't have to. I find it easier to do. There we go. That's 3 minutes. Alexa, stop. Right, so I'm now going to, I've got my scoop here. I'm going to take these peppers and I'm going to put them in there to one side. They're just slightly softened now. And I'm going to put my chicken in and fry my chicken. And then I'm going to put all the peppers and onions back in again. So, okay, my pan is very hot now. I've turned the heat down just a little bit to number 7. And I'm going to add my chicken. So, chicken pieces in. You hear that all simmering away. That's got to be really carefully washed. Right, so chicken. If you want to, you can always add another drop of oil just to make sure it doesn't stick too much to the bottom, but not a lot because we don't want to add any fat, although these are good fats. Oil is a good fat, not a bad fat. So I'm just going to brown all this chicken. Right, now chicken, when you brown it, actually goes white. So we're going to get all this chicken turning white, which means it started the cooking process. Okay, so here we go. Almost all done. You can see it's all going white. Get that done. Now, we're going to put our sauce in now. So as soon as all the chicken's turned white, we're going to add our sauce. And that chicken is now going to cook in the sauce and absorb all that lovely flavour. There we go. So we're going to just let that absorb that for a little bit, for a few minutes, because we want our chicken nicely cooked. Right. Okay, it's boiling away. I'm actually going to put a lid on, and I'm going to put this lid on so I can see what's going on in here. I'm going to just put that lid on, turn the heat down to, say, number 6, low, because don't forget, this is a stir fry, which means that it's a very quick stirring and frying, a lightly frying. It's not a long simmering cooking process. Okay, so keep turning that around, letting the chicken cook nicely. And of course the chicken will be absorbing all these lovely flavours, okay? In the meantime, we're not going to lose any more of our vitamins with it sitting there because the heat has sealed the vitamins and it's covered in a layer of oil. So we're not going to lose any more of our vitamin C from those peppers in there. So they're quite safe. And we've only cooked them for 3 minutes. So I don't really want to cook them much more than 2 or 3 minutes once the chicken is cooked. Okay, so, and it's lovely to have crunchy peppers as well. Okay, now you don't have to only have peppers. You could, you know, with this dish, as with most dishes, you can always tweak things for yourselves. Now, what you might like, if your family didn't like peppers, for example, you could put in, you could stir fry some courgette. You could have some sweet corn in here. A tin of sweet corn doesn't go amiss. You could put some mushrooms in if you wanted. You could dice carrots finely and have some thinly sliced carrots in this. So you could put, get a bag of mixed vegetables, frozen mixed vegetables, and just put some frozen mixed veg instead of using fresh peppers. So you don't have to always stick to the same veggies as we've recommended, because it's better to use the vegetables that you particularly will eat and like. Okay, right, this is going really nicely now. And all that corn flour that we put in will help to make the sauce nice and thick. In fact, that is what this is for. This is an extra bit of corn flour paste to put in if the sauce is too runny. But at the moment, my sauce is not runny at all. I don't even think I'm going to need it. You could, if you wanted, you could always add a bit more water to make more of a sauce. If you like lots of sauce, just add a bit of water and then add your pineapple and corn flour paste. But so far, my sauce is actually lovely and thick, and it's coating the chicken beautifully. Right, okay. Now, I'm almost ready to see if my chicken is cooked. Right, take a piece of chicken and cut it in half and see if it's white all the way through. Now, because I cut such thin strips, this cooks really quickly, which is ideal for stir fry. That's why I don't like you making big chunks, because chunks take a long time to cook. This chicken now, all these strips, I'm just checking, they're absolutely white inside. So that chicken is already cooked. Right, now I'm going to add my peppers back in. There we go, and onions, so that it gets nicely coated with the sauce. And there we have a delicious sweet and sour chicken, which is very healthy. So it's lean chicken breast, so you've got no saturated fat. So it's high in protein. You've got complete ACE in here with our peppers, our onions, and we've got vitamin A, vitamin C, plus we've got the vitamin E from the oil. So we have really got something that is so nutritious and also so tasty, because sweet and sour chicken is a lovely dish. And if you've got, we're not going to make spring rolls, but if you've got spring rolls, they go really nicely with this. I love spring rolls. Right, so I'm only going to cook that now for another 2 minutes, and I'm going to add my corn flour paste because it will give us some more sauce. Okay, now one thing we still have to add, and that is our pineapple. So I'm going to go and get our pineapple. So that makes the sauce nice and thick. I'm going to get the pineapple, and this pineapple is pineapple rings. So I'm actually going to cut. Now, a very easy way is just to cut the rings in the tin rather than taking them all out and chopping them. Now, this is a rather large tin of pineapple. I'm not sure I'm going to want to use all of it. So I want to use a spoon. And I'm just going to pour some of this pineapple in. And there's a bit more juice here. So use as much as you want. Let's have a look. Yeah, that's probably about enough. So it's up to you. You can add all of it, as long as you don't waste the rest of the tin, and you either eat it or add it to a dessert or a smoothie or whatever you want to do with it. But there we have it. And that's just softened the peppers a little bit more, and we're done. We're actually done. Everything is nicely coated, and that's our meal stuff. So I'm going to stop now because I don't want my peppers to cook anymore, because I want to keep in my vitamin C, and I'm going to bring that over, take it off the heat, and I'm going to show you what that looks like. Okay, the sauce is lovely and thick. Everything is coated with that sauce. Just look at that. It looks absolutely yummy. Now, what do we serve this with? Right, there's a few options. You could either use some noodles, or you could make a fried rice. And I thought what I'd do, just as an addition, is I'm going to show you how to make some fried rice. So I'm just going to go and put this dreadful chicken thing in the sink, because I don't want that lying around. And I'm going to show you how to do a fried rice. Now, to do fried rice, you need to have made the rice beforehand. You need cooked rice. Right, now I've done a boil in the bag, so there's only one portion of rice here, so I'm only going to do one portion. So most probably you'd be doing it for your family. So take as many portions as you have. I'm going to put it into my rice bowl. Right, so some cooked rice, and I usually use long grain rice. I don't use basmati rice for this. Okay, now what we're going to need is we're going to need some rice. We're going to need an egg, and we're going to need some spring onions. Okay, so now this recipe I'm going to show you, at our school, we have quite a lot of Chinese students, and they have shown us how to make a real fried rice. And fried rice in China is a very popular meal, and in fact, our students have said to us that at home in China, they would have fried rice for breakfast, for example. Well, you may think how strange, but how lovely is that? I mean, we have our staple carbohydrate, because rice is a carbohydrate. Our staple carbohydrate is bread, because we grow lots of wheat in Britain. And we have eggs on bread. Well, they have eggs in rice, don't they? So it's quite the same. So spring onions sometimes can be a bit mucky. I always peel out the outer peels and make sure you can see what I'm doing here. And then I'm just going to slice them up. Use your claw grip. Keep your hands behind your knife. Cut them up. You don't want to use all the green bits because they're not the part of the onion. Okay, but it's nice to have some of the colour, some of that green colour. Okay, right. So basically, we've got. Let's have a look at the recipe again. So we need some oil to fry it, and we need our egg, and we need our rice. Now, what I'm going to do is something I didn't realise. Was the Chinese, when they make egg fried rice, well, some of them do that, some of them make it differently, but this Chinese student showed us that you put the egg in the rice like that, and you stir the egg into the rice, and that really made sense to me. So stir your egg into your rice, and then you need to add a little bit of seasoning, so you need to add some salt. Okay, so 1 portion of rice is about 1 egg, or just under an egg. So 2 portions of rice, you can use a large egg, 1 large egg, or 2 small eggs, so on. So just guess like that. So there's quite a lot of egg in this rice. Right, so there we go. We've got egg and rice, and we're going to fry that. Now, I don't think I need a big saucepan for that, so I'm going to use a small frying pan. No, actually, I'll just use this one. Right, so this is, I'll use a non-stick frying pan. Put this back on the heat. We're going to need some oil. There we go. A little bit of oil again. And egg fried rice can actually be a meal on its own. It doesn't have to be a side dish. You could almost put vegetables in an egg fried rice as well to make it. If your children like rice, then it is a really nice, healthy way of making rice with some protein because you've got your egg. And then adding a couple of peas are nice in here. And that makes it colourful. Right, so the cooker was nice and warm, so just 1 tablespoon of oil, not too much oil because we don't want too much oil. And we're going to just put the spring onions, we don't actually cook, we actually sprinkle them on raw. Okay, right, let's see, is that going to be warm enough? Okay, then you just tip this into your pan. Probably have waited for this to be a bit hotter. Okay, there we go. And you're just going to stir it. Now we're going to add a bit of salt. A little bit of salt. And just like as if you were doing, it's almost like making scrambled eggs. So you're going to make sure that this egg is all cooked through. And that is what we're going to serve with our sweet and sour chicken. Now, we've made chicken today. You can obviously make sweet and sour pork if that's what you like. It's better to use pork fillet. I just find it can be quite expensive, although chicken breast is not cheap either anymore. But chicken is usually softer. I prefer to use chicken. But the original recipe would have been sweet and sour pork. Okay, it's starting to cook, and of course egg cooks very quickly. Best fast food ever. And I'm just going to, you're going to see there's quite a lot of egg in here. So probably one egg would do 2 portions of rice. But I just wanted to make 1 portion for dinner tonight. Okay, right, there we go. It's all cooking. Make sure your egg is all cooked. And when egg is cooked, it coagulates. That's the word we use. It goes sort of dry. Right, so we're going to have all these little bits of egg in our rice. You can see why this would make a really good breakfast, actually. There's absolutely, if your children love, or if you love rice, then having an egg fried rice at any time of the day is going to be a really good, nutritious meal. So again, the Chinese cuisine has taught us so many healthy cooking methods. Their steaming and their stir frying are the healthiest cooking methods that there are. So we have a lot to thank the inspiration of Chinese cuisine for. And certainly this egg fried rice is wonderful. So there we go. Our rice is now finished. Not our rice, our egg is now all cooked. And I can now serve this on a plate. So I'm going to grab a dinner plate. And I'm going to transfer this. I haven't had time to clean up yet. So there we go. I'm going to switch this off now. It's all crackling. Right, so I'm going to put my rice on my plate. My egg fried rice. And we're going to add our spring onions. So I'm going to add my spring onions. Not too many. Now, there we go. Just look at that. Doesn't that look good? And then I'm going to dish up some sweet and sour chicken on the side. That's why I like to use green peppers, because green peppers give a nice colour to that. Well, I had 2 chicken breasts, and that's a good portion. So you can see this will stretch quite far for possibly even 4 portions, because you've bulked out your chicken with vegetables and the pineapple. Okay, and there we go. There's our sweet and sour chicken dish for dinner tonight. So I hope you've all managed that and that you're all going to enjoy your meal.